Welcome to RCJetsUSA. This is a pre-Maiden flight checklist. I normally do that for myself, so I thought of sharing with you guys. As I promised in my last video, I built this jet, F-22 Raptor from Freewing, and it went all pretty good actually. So they say about 4 to 5 hours, but I think I did it even before that. It's pretty good so far. As I mentioned in my previous video, there are only 3 pieces to glue. Those are the small items in the jet, as you can see in the tail pieces. Those are the 3 items that I had to glue. Other than that, they recommend you to glue the nose cone, but I did not do that because, as you could see, there's a magnet here, top and bottom both, and they are very heavy duty. Like for example, you can see it's very hard to remove. So I do not want to glue it unnecessarily. I'm going to run with it and see how it goes. So that's about it with gluing. Most challenging thing that I had with installing my gyro and the receiver. Let me show you what I have done actually. So let me get a close-up so that you know exactly what is inside. So let me tilt a little bit so that you understand what I'm talking about, but you will get a zoom in picture as well. So as you can see in the screen, this is what I have done. What happened was actually, even though I was really impressed with the room within the battery compartment, when I tried to identify a location for my receiver and especially for the gyro, I did not have any place that I can level my gyro, because gyro has to be in the level position, either this way, that way, or the other way. But I could not find it. As you can see, it's all curvy, like rounding shape. So only place that I can place the gyro is basically on the board itself. But I'm a bit reluctant to do that. With the battery can go up and down, depend on the CG settings. So I just want to have that flexibility to move forward or backward, so that I don't want my gyro to be kind of in the way of the battery that I'm going to adjust depend on the size, because I fly with a couple of batteries, so they are in different sizes and different kind of weight. So I just like to move them around a little bit, depend on the weight. But if I have gyro in the way, I won't be able to do that comfortably. So what I did was, as you can see on the screen, I actually glued one of the wood piece that came with the kit and level the gyro in front. So one of my friends actually told me that what he did was he just moved all the electronics, even the control box, from front to the end, which makes sense because most of the cables coming from behind, not from the front. Front you have the steering and the nose gear light, and also the front landing gear. Basically 3 cables. So you can drag all the way there instead of dragging all the other cables and all of the rest of the cables to the front. That is what they have done. But I usually do not like to mess with the existing setup until I fly a couple of times and then do the adjustment. So I try to do it as is first and then move on with my modification later on. So I didn't want to do that. So I kept the control box as it was, but I found a slot, as you can see on the screen, for my receiver and also the gyro. So they are all good. Now the gyro also, as you can see here, it's level. It's level. So it's kind of, there's no issue of leveling it that way. So it's all good. Now when it's come to the battery placement, are you going towards the front or back? So that is the question. It all depends on the CG. Now according to the manual, let me grab the manual, and it is actually 150 millimeter from the edge of the main wing. That means from this edge, it's 150 millimeter, exactly somewhere here. So what I did was actually I glued a Velcro around that area. So for example, if I leave my 150 marker here at the end of that, yeah, I should have my, as you can hear, I'm actually touching my Velcro. So if I hold as at now, and to balance this on my hand, because it's not that heavy, so you can do that. So I have placed the battery with the guesswork, that should be the place. Now let me close the canopy so that there's an additional weight there. Let me try to see whether it's balanced. So I'm on the Velcro now, so I'm going to hold it and see what happened. As you can see, nose come down. Can I forcefully send the tail down? Little bit. So it's not bad. So the idea is not to be tail heavy. That's the most important thing. So with having my battery all the way to the edge of the board, basically let me give you a close-up. I'm actually edge of the board, and that's where I'm going to start my battery. So then if I feel like it's too nose heavy, I will push a little bit. But I don't want to start from the back, because if you get into a situation where the tail is heavy, you are going to get into serious problems within the maiden flight. We don't want that. So just to remember, most important thing in a jet is not to have tail heavy situation in your maiden flight. So little bit of nose heavy is okay, you can deal with it, but when it's tail heavy and you are doing trimming and all kind of situation, that is not a good scenario at all. So it's a very bad situation. So try to bring the battery forward as much as comfortable, and even if it is a little bit more, that's okay, but do not ever fly or start flying having tail heavy situation. See, as soon as I grab, nose goes down. That is what I want. I don't want this to happen. As soon as I grab, if it's going this way, I don't want that. So, which is good. Now, this is also assuming the CG position is exactly correct, because normally any manual, they say between this and that, give a range kind of thing. But this manual on the dot, it says 150 millimeters from the edge. That's kind of a bit weird. So I don't buy into that. I don't go 100% by the manual, because I have learned my lessons with multiple jets. Manual says something, it actually totally different thing. So, but go with the common sense. Having so much wingspan, surface area, this jet is fairly comfortable to fly. By looking at it, you know that the most of the jet is covered with the wings, so it should be all right. So having a little bit of weight on the front would be great. So don't mess with that on the very first flight. That's the number one. Number two, most important thing, when it's come to elevator. Now, as you can see, some jets have half flap elevators, but this is a full flap elevator. The whole flap itself move around. So in that case, that's another thing to concern. So most of my F-16 jets has the same setup, the full flap elevator. So let me power this up and show you what I'm talking about.
Gyro off.
So I have left the gyro on. So now let me show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, let me turn this little bit towards the camera so that you know what I'm talking about. So look into the elevator. We are talking about the elevator. So this is going nose up, this is going nose down, right? So if you really want to guess and thinking that the jet will be level, if you leave it like this, leveling it to the body frame of the jet, it should be like this. But if you do that and start flying, nose will go down. That's the default. Any jet with have full flap elevators, you are going to get into that situation. If you level it to the jet, it's going to go nose down. So you don't need a nose down situation in your maiden flight. So you can start with what the manual says, and also even if you give a little bit more up elevator, that's all right, but not too much. But do not ever level it to the body. So it should be a little bit this way, not that way. So it should be a little bit this. So now as you can see, this is the level according to the body, but mine, this is the 0 position. So it's a little bit down, which means nose will either go a little bit higher when you start, or it will be level. That's all. So you can trim comfortably at that point. But if you start going nose down as soon as you take off for the medium flight, then you are going to struggle a little bit, because you do not know how much of trim that you have to do, because you have only 50% up, 50% down. So if you have gone further down, you have to give a lot of trim to bring it up. So at that time, you are going to compensate a lot, which is going to cause a problem, because I have seen people struggling after giving all 50% of the trimming, still jet is coming down, nose coming down. So which is a very critical situation, because you cannot land, and because you can fully give the up elevator, but still it's not even leveling, it's going down kind of thing. So it's very crazy. So when that happens, so make sure your elevator adjustments are done according to the manual. And if you are not sure, you can talk to somebody who's flying and see what they have done. It will be the same anyway. It doesn't, regardless of the battery size or anything, it will be the same. So make sure that you get that right before your medium flight. So little bit down like this would be better than having it this way, going this way. Okay, so now let me just show you all the controls. Everything works fine, and also my flaps.
Takeoff flaps, landing
As
flaps.
you can see, my flaps are coming very fast, because I have done it that way, because I don't like the slow movement, because I normally slow down the jet significantly before I put the flap. I don't do it at high speed. If you are doing it at high speed, you have to bring it slowly, because it's not good for the flap, it will fly away. So because I used to slow down a lot,
Landing
so
flaps.
so
Takeoff
I
flaps.
bring them quickly,
Flaps
so
up.
that if I want to get out of it, I can quickly get out of it as well. It's not very slow to go up. So that's another thing. So let me get the gear up as well.
Landing gear up.
So as you can see, there's a bit of a rough noise on my doors, but not a big thing. I did not actually check onto that, but I noticed that. Hopefully once you start flying, it will be all right, I guess, because it's the hinges are still a bit stiff.
Landing gear down and slow approach to
Yeah.
runway to land.
Yeah. So let me give a little bit of throttle.
Motors armed and timer reset. Throttle cut.
So I actually place the motor with 12 blades, as I mentioned in my previous video. It's not 9 blade as they are selling when you buy the full version with 6S. Now I have 6S, but 12 blade motor with the same speed, same kV. So that's the difference. So it's actually lightweight motor, than it's not a steel frame, it's like semi steel and plastic mix. So it's very lightweight, kind of a EDF that I have there. That's why I can move the battery a little bit into the middle if I want to, because the behind side is not as heavy as it's when you buy the full version. So that's what it's all about. As of now, this is actually done according to my standard. It's all done perfectly. So its only thing is to do a medium flight. So I'll show you guys the medium flight and let's go from there. So far so good. So if you are interested in buying one of these, don't worry, it's not that complicated to put everything together. Only thing, as I mentioned, the challenging part is for the battery compartment at the receiver and the gyro, and other than that there was no challenges at all. It's very easy to put everything together. So that's all, folks. So I'll catch up with you again with the medium flight and I'll keep you posted. Thank you. Bye for now.